Welcome to Nugget 134 with Steve Groman, and today we're going to talk about birds. We just completed a beautiful nugget on some birds that we saw down in the Rio Grande Valley. And today we want to continue on and tell you a little bit about some of these birds on an individual basis. But first, let's start with the Bible.
In Genesis 1, verse 20 through 23, it says, "And God said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly, after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day."
That was a beautiful day, wasn't it? And those birds have been continuing to do what God told them to do from that very first day.
And birds are awesome if you think about it. I mean, just the idea, think of some of these big birds especially, that they can get off the ground is amazing, but they're designed to do exactly that. One of the ones we saw down there was the Cardinal. Most people kind of know it as the everyday red bird. And they are a red bird, and they are actually quite a beautiful bird. You know, I want to encourage people, take some time when you take a look at God's creation, just examine it, just take a close look at it, and just ponder and give God the credit and the glory for it.
Yes, we just don't appreciate all the things that God has put out there for us to enjoy.
This is a beautiful creation.
And here's a little green jay, and he was at the Sable Palm Sanctuary that we love to go to when we're down there in the valley. And these are just a regular common jay. They mainly live in far south Texas on down into Central America, Honduras area. They are a common bird, but they are extremely gorgeous. And these are onigas. Can you tell them a little bit about onigas?
Well, the oniga does not have oil glands, which oil glands are where the waterproofing of the feathers comes into play. And most birds have that, but oniga does not. When he goes swimming, his feathers get wet. Kind of helps him dive, and he can chase fish underwater. They're really amazing creatures. But above the water, he spreads out his wings to dry in the sun, and they're really awesome when they do that. They just spread those things out, and they'll stand there like a statue.
And sometimes they get confused with the cormorant, but they are a different bird. And the biggest difference is the beak. The oniga's beak is very thin, and the cormorant's is kind of a stubby beak. And here's a picture of an egret. The great egret, or the American egret, is a very common bird in waterways. We see them in Houston along bayous and in creeks.
It's fun to watch them go fishing.
Yes, and this one, we're trying to figure out whether he has a worm or a small snake wrapped around his beak, and here is one in flight. The little guys in the background behind this pair of egrets are called willets. And these cute little willets, they stand on beaches, and they're very common year-round. You can know a willet by you see the distinct white patch on the wings, and in the summer, a pattern of darker feathers appear on the willet's chest. And here is a white ibis. Sometimes people get ibises and egrets mixed up, but the ibis has the orange legs and the big orange beak, and the egrets have the black legs and the black beaks. Here.
And the black beaks are usually a little straighter. Ibis has kind of got a curved beak.
They call it, actually, in one of our favorite waterfowl books, it actually says the downward curving bill is called decurved in scientific language. But they are distinctive for their long curving bill, which turns a brilliant red during breeding season in contrast with their beautiful blue eye color.
And then there's one of your favorites.
My absolute
favorite.
We
were driving down the road, and she said, "Whoa, we got to turn around, Well, we had to drive a few miles to turn around, a few miles to go back and turn around again, but it was worth it."
These roseate spoonbills are amazing.
They are.
And first time we saw them was in Florida. A lot of people will get them confused with a flamingo at first until you actually examine this bird. There's no way to confuse it with a flamingo. They're actually quite common. We've seen them out on the waterways outside of Houston, and then we were able to see this whole flock of them the other day in the valley, but they are also very common in Florida. And then here is your favorite.
I have always liked pelicans. These guys are amazing.
And this guy is strutting around his winter plume.
Yes, he is. We love to watch these guys go fishing. They'll just dive straight down into the water. But they are amazing, amazing creatures, the way they go fishing.
Actually, my
Another
very
one of your favorites.
favorite. This
Yes.
is my very favorite. They're actually called laughing gulls. Me and most other people do call them seagulls, but there is technically no such thing as a seagull. They are called laughing gulls, and almost every time we go to the coast, and I've gone to the coast my entire life, I take a big loaf of bread to feed these guys. You just see one, and
You see one, and here they come.
You toss up a little piece of bread, and the next thing you know, there's just a whole flock of them, and they are gorgeous, and they do laugh as they are grabbing the bread. And these are some pictures of some herons. This is one that we saw one at sunset near on Boca Chica Beach. And here's a little blue heron that we saw in Florida. They're just simply gorgeous. There are all kinds of colored herons. This is actually a heron also. And then we saw this enormous heron, and he crossed right in front of you and Paul, the great blue heron. We got some beautiful pictures of him. And this is the beautiful one that walked right in front of us on the path.
And commonly thought of as sandpipers, that's what most people will call them, is actually, his name is a sanderling.
And they're always fun to watch. They're just always like running across and
little legs, and they're just cruising 100 miles an hour, aren't they?
They kind of do what we do, run across the water, and as the tide comes in, run up and run back. They play and have a great
right on the
time.
water's edge.
And again, we want to end with this Bible verse that we started with.
Yeah, God said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the water brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth." And the evening and the morning were the fifth day.
Yes, let's just remember that on the fifth day of creation,
God made a lot of beautiful birds. Birds are absolutely amazing creatures, and the hollow bones that they have to allow them to fly, and they're just absolutely amazing, powerful. Can you imagine the muscle it would take to flap those things all your life long?
a testimony to a grand creator.
Incredible creator, no doubt about it.
All right, well, thank you.